That was very abrupt.
He got no fade, bro.
Man, I was like, vibe. And then I was going to slowly vibe out, but I guess not. What is going on, crypto fam? Happy Friday. Happy Forest from Crypto Stackers Day. Happy Bitcoin is down day. Happy day. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, David, and we're coming at you from our studio here in Sinus City. By the way, your sinuses okay? Mine are messed up, bro. The wind. Anyways. I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I'm one of your co-hosts, David. Before we get into content, quick disclaimer. Nothing that's said on this channel should be taken as financial advice, so please always do your own research. With that being said, I'd like to throw you to the Hurley man himself, Big Rob. What's up?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, hola! We are entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where, what do, David?
We take the old.
We take the old, the boring, and the stale information, and we package it up in a fun and sexy way, just like this. Yeah. Pow, 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 pow. Blue. Now, how many likes we got in this video?
Not enough.
I don't have my YouTube analytics pulled up, but whatever it is, it ain't enough. So we're going to give you a moment to take a look at
the like button.
The like button. It's on the bottom somewhere. And if you ain't subscribed yet, go ahead and knock that out. Muchas gracias. All right. And how you feeling today, David?
Feeling good. You know who's feeling better?
Who's feeling better?
Our boy Hendy. It's his birthday today.
Is it Hendy's birthday?
Hendosaurus.
Dang.
Happy birthday. Big 40 today.
Wow.
You know, Robin turned 40 about five years ago. How did it feel when you turned 40, my man?
I'm not 40 yet, bro.
Oh, my bad.
I'm about to turn 39.
I'll tell you what, though. When I turned 30, on my 30th birthday, I woke up with tendinitis in one of my knees. It was terrible. True story. Hendy, happy birthday, my friend. From all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we hope you have an amazing day.
Yeah. And if you didn't know, David has tendinitis.
Used to.
Does that go
I
away on its own?
I started stretching. We Gucci. Anyways, let's do a roll call, Robin.
All right. So, roll call. Who we got in here? Mark first up in the chat. R.A. Daniel. We got Nordy, Shizzy, Brokey Yoshi, and
Bullish Kenny. Hendy. Everything's got an I or
Sean is up in here. What's up, Sean? Good to see you, my dude. Yeah, we saw that they canceled the AMA, Sean. We'll touch on that in a moment. And then we got... Who else we got? Sir Babe, Why You Loud, Gang! As we mentioned, Hendy. And then we got James in here. Go ahead.
Wheeling, dealing, James Wheeler, baby.
We got Olga, Destroyer. We got C-Dub. And...
Nashan.
Who?
Nashan.
Oh, yep, Nashan. And then, yeah. Is C-Dub? He's been here before, right?
I believe so, yeah.
C-Dub.
He said Alex did us dirty.
Welcome back, C-Dub. Oh, yeah, he was part of the like late night stream thing or whatever it was. Yeah. Alex is... I'm shifting my thoughts on his man. You know, what do bad people that take advantage of people normally have in common?
Are you saying he's taking advantage of people?
Whether deliberately, like that was his intention from the get-go, or whether he just mismanaged and didn't go the right way. End of the day, the dude dropped the ball. And a lot of people trust him. And what I say is that the best con men, the people that take the most money, the people that usually do you the dirtiest are the ones that you trust the most. And you know what? We've met Alex Mashinsky, and at face value, the dude is kind, he's nice, he's likable, very like warm personality, right? Yeah. He's very vocal on other platforms. So he's willing to go out and talk about the project. He's not hiding or anything at all, or at least he wasn't. And so if you look at history, you know, outside of crypto world, the people that are like loved and you're like, wow, such a great person. Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? Like these.
Did you bring Bill Cosby into this?
Yeah, I'm not comparing Alex Mashinsky to Bill Cosby. I'm just saying that sometimes the warmest personalities, the people that you look up to and you're like, that's a great person, sometimes is the opposite of that. And, you know, growing up here in Las Vegas, or at least spending the last 16 years of my life here, you run across a handful of people in your time that have gambling problems. And they might have families and be good people, but they don't know how to manage money. And they might be a good person, and they might come up to you and be like, hey, man, can I borrow, $1,000? I got something going on here or whatever. And they might be somebody you trust, might be somebody that's nice and, might help you coach T-ball or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that next door neighbor. But they could just be either a con artist or they could be just mismanaging funds. And so anyways, I think
for Alex, it's the latter. I don't think he's a con artist, personally.
You know what? I was listening to some podcasts today, and this is apparently not his only business venture that went down. So he had another startup. I'm in the process of doing some research on this, but He had another company go down. There was, per some reports I was looking at, lots of red flags. They were going to be insolvent before they did another fundraising round in October this year. So the writing was on the wall. It's no surprise. And all the while he's been pushing this, hey, you need to invest. This is safe, blah, blah, blah. And at least he understood there was a lot of unnecessary risk being taken and that the floor was probably going to fall out. And yet he still went full steam ahead. And that's from face value, not in-depth research, just now scratching the surface. I want to know more about it. And from what I've pulled up so far, it ain't looking good, bro. That's all I'm saying. And so today I told David, I was like, you know what? We know dude. He's cool. He's nice. He's humble. But you know what, man? There's a lot of things that are coming to light, and it's not looking good, bro. And so that's just wait till next week. I'm gonna have a little bit more insight on
do some digging.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at, like, I don't know what. I'm just looking at Rob, what do you think about them bringing in the Citigroup and the lawyers?
Well, I mean, they're basically under like crash damage control. They're trying to crawl out of a hole they probably can't crawl out of. They're running out of options. They can't borrow any more money because, well, you know what? Everybody's down. In the same way that if you ask me to borrow 20 grand in crypto, I ain't got it, bro. You know what I mean? You would ask me in the bull market, cool, yeah, I'm up. Portfolio's looking good. I'll move something around. I'll sell an NFT or something, you know? And so right now, you can't raise capital. Where are you going to raise, especially with DeFi the way it is? You can't raise capital. And if you can't raise capital, then how are you supposed to cover shortfalls in debt, right? Because they're underwater.
Yeah, they're definitely underwater.
So they're underwater. They can't raise capital because nobody has a good beat on what's going on. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. And the more and more I hear about it, the more and more it seems as though people might not get their money back. And if they do, it's going to be pennies on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar. So maybe 50% of what your wallet is. Yeah. Now, maybe it's nothing. And all of the people that were staking their funds, they are unsecured debt, and actually they're the last in line to get paid back.
If
institutions who
investors are number one.
Or investors. Well, it's not that they're being slime balls. They're just the way it's structured. They're not. They're a different type of debt. So by the structure of the law and how they're gonna have to pay people back, they'll be the first to get their money back. And so, here's a question I propose to you.
Hold on, before you ask this question, I kind of want to bring Forrest on a little early and get his take on this and bring him into this conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine. But real quick,
okay,
what do you think that it's possible to get double-digit returns on staking. Do you think that's a thing of the past? Do you think it's a sustainable business model? Because what I'm seeing that shares that is congruent between all of the platforms that are collapsing. We have another one too, by the way. There's another lending platform / custodial thing that is going under. Or no, I don't want to say going under. I'm getting ahead of myself. My apologies. But they withhalted trading. They have $3 billion worth of assets under management that they had locked up.
Limits.
Yeah, and so it looks like with 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, what happened to Terra Luna, now this. There's one thing they all have in common. They're lending out money and they're doing deals. And obviously this is all, in my opinion, interconnected. And because it's interconnected, here's the thing. One platform lends to the other. If all of a sudden somebody puts a ton of cash into one platform, or they need a ton of cash, for example, they're going to borrow from another platform.
Right.
And so all these, this is a web of institutions. They're all working together. Now you've pretty much just burned one down, Terra Luna. And then that in turn had somebody that were over leveraged or overexposed to Terra Luna. That happened to them as well. And the next one, the next one, the next one. So
3AC fallout's going to be.
I'm telling you, last bull market was the ICO, and
this one is DeFi.
This one is DeFi, bro. DeFi, and basically institutions. Because like what happened last time, it was the retail investor overexposing themselves to ICOs, and now it's the institutions overexposing themselves to DeFi and lending.
Right.
All right. Without further ado, let's run the intro. Let's get our boy in here. Hey,
the man.
What's up, brother?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing, man? Thank you so much for coming back on the show. We appreciate it.
Always.
Thanks. Yeah, always be good. I'm trying to get centered here. My camera's a little bit off.
Yeah, I'm like super high right now. Well, not on the camera. Super high.
Yeah, right.
Weed is legal, bro. Calm down.
I ain't trying to get canceled here.
On YouTube, the weekends, bro. On the weekends.
Google, if you're listening, I'm not mentally high. So, Forrest, when we had you on last Friday, you hinted at Celsius having insolvency issues. Guess what, my friend? You were right. Give us kind of your thoughts on the whole situation, what you're looking for, what you think the possible outcome. We have a few new community members that joined us after we did our video. They have a lot of their money on the platform. People want answers, and I know you don't have the definite yes, no, you're going to get your money back, but just share your wisdom, your thoughts. You've been in the space for a long time. Like, what do you see happening? What's going on?
Yeah, so I think price action is reflecting. I think the risk of everything. The risk of everything is being overpriced into the market right now. I think that stuff is oversold. All of the technical indicators are showing that everything is oversold. We're getting a lot of bottoming signals. There's absolutely risk that we go further down. There's unequivocal risk. We could see ridiculously low numbers, but to not buy based off of technicals right now, I think is unwise if you have a long-term time frame and if you can afford it. Bitcoin at 20K is hitting a ton of support. We've never seen a Bitcoin cycle where the bottom drops below the top of the previous cycle. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Doesn't mean there's not risk, but it is a big buying opportunity in my opinion. So yeah, I think that the risk that Celsius defaults or remains insolvent, can't pay back their clients, the risk of 3AC going under and completely having to liquidate everything is probably priced into the market. That's why Bitcoin is at $20,000, right? Bitcoin's not at $20,000 because people want to sell or wanted to sell at $25,000. Nobody who bought Bitcoin, and I'll show you on the charts in just a second, but nobody who wanted to buy Bitcoin, nobody who bought Bitcoin in the last year and a half wanted to sell under 30K. all of the people selling under 30K are either forced sellers because they're not liquid, they're insolvent, or they're just panic selling emotionally without the long term in mind, and they're afraid of like these cascading liquidations, which there is potential for, but they're looking in the short term of what could happen in the next couple weeks and couple months, rather than looking in the long term, a year or two down the line. So technically, from a technical analysis perspective, we're oversold, and I'm a buyer of this market.
So do you think with, I know you mentioned cascading liquidations. So, do you think if we hit, and I don't have the numbers, and I don't know if you do or even looked into it, but if you say we hit 17,000, charts aside, sure, TA aside, but if you hit 17,000, I would imagine that with the institutions that are doing the lending, the Aves, the BlockFis, the Curve Finance, the ones that are operational right now, do you think that could snowball into those platforms, or perhaps smaller exchanges that offer interest, or maybe even maybe we get a gigantic shakeup and we get a large exchange? I don't think it would be something like Coinbase or anything like that, nothing that large, but perhaps one of the big players like CoinEx or something. I'm just throwing out names. I'm just thinking of like a medium-sized exchange. Do you think that, if you hit 17,000, that it could just trigger, a domino effect of institutions like getting liquidated? I mean, I feel like a lot of people are on the breaking point, and a little further down, I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, man, maybe if we had 17, we get a couple big institutions that, get liquidated and go under, can't pay their debts, and then that pushes Bitcoin down to like 12 or 13. Is that something? Is that a thing, or?
Yeah, 100%. I think the number, I would have to double check. The last time I checked it was probably 3 or 4 days ago. I don't know if you guys have this number on hand either, but it's Celsius's wrapped Bitcoin positions liquidation point. I think they added enough collateral to get that liquidation point to like 16 point something thousand dollars for Bitcoin.
I think the last time, sorry to cut you. I think the last time I saw was 14,000.
Yeah, they got it down to 14.
Oh, it's down to 14,000. That's pretty safe. I hate to throw out the word safe, but in the immediate term, like I think it's going to be really tough for them to push Bitcoin down that low. But if they did, yeah, you get liquidated. You see that much Bitcoin getting liquidated instantly at 14 point whatever thousand. Then all of a sudden we're talking about 10,000. What's really difficult to gauge is how much buying pressure. Like we can understand the amount of Bitcoin that would be getting liquidated at those points, or we could estimate it to be very high. But on the flip side, it's very difficult to understand how much buying pressure to be able to predict. Obviously, we can see the buy limit orders on a lot of exchanges. Obviously, there's going to be huge buyers at $10,000, huge buyers at $15,000. There's already huge buyers at $19,000 to $20,000. But what other players that have a lot of money are ready to step in a huge way at $10,000? So looking today, I think it's Apple, Google, and Microsoft have massive cash positions, and they're just getting chipped away at by inflation. And I'm not saying that, I'm not insinuating that Apple is going to buy Bitcoin, but I am saying that they have a lot of cash that they need to get rid of. And whether it's through buying other companies, investing in other assets, or potentially putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet, or Ethereum of all things, who knows? There's people with a lot of money on the sidelines that are going to be ready to buy these big levels. And I think being afraid that Bitcoin's going to drop to $6,000 or even $10,000 in the very short term over the next 2 weeks to month, I just don't think is kind of the right mentality to have. I think we'll look at the charts in just a second, and they indicate that we have a lot of support, and usually you want to be a buyer of support.
To double back on that, I think that if you did get, say, that scenario where you had liquidations and like a flash crash, and we went all the way down to, say, 10,000, I mean, I just would assume there would, as you mentioned, there'd be so much buying pressure. It would be like a V-shaped recovery. It wouldn't be down there for too long. No. I wouldn't imagine. I think you could find yourself back at 18, 20 grand pretty quickly. I mean, that's my. But I've been wrong. I thought 30K was that was.
Finally, it comes out. Finally.
But now the 20K is a new 30K. So. But
I agree with Forrest. I think these companies are going to be in a position where, okay, If we're holding cash, inflation is destroying our capital. What do we put it in? We're not going to put it in equities. Maybe bond, maybe. Bitcoin might be pretty looking pretty tasty at 10K. So anyways, Forrest, do your thing, my friend. And then when you're done, there's a couple other questions I want to ask you, get your take on. But do your thing. Again, we appreciate you. Thank you. And go ahead.
Sure, yeah. You guys can see my charts all right?
Yep.
My screen?
Yep.
Awesome. So I know we're talking about crypto here, but I believe that oil and energy prices, as we kind of discussed last week, one of the most important things to be looking at right now. Let me switch to easy bands. We just got a big resistance level and potentially double top. And today oil's down like 8-9%, which in my opinion is a very good sign, right? This is going to contribute to or help curb CPI a little bit. Obviously, oil prices manifest in high oil prices relate or are correlated to higher prices and everything else because oil is used for everything. This world still runs on oil. I think it's like everyone's worried about oil's future in the long term because of like the whole renewable energy thing. It's like 2% or 2.5% of all vehicles right now are electric vehicles. There's still huge demand for oil, and I think it's going to be around for a while, but it's good to see it dropping. That means gas prices could potentially be starting to come down. This looks like a potential for a double top. Not saying the top is in yet, but it's good to see, in my opinion, at least bullish for a lot of other assets, including the legacy market and large cap cryptos, to see these prices start to come down a little bit. I always like to keep track of this chart because I think it's so relevant to the global space right now. So one thing that I want to throw on these logarithmic regression levels. And if I can get that off, there we go. Historically, we're looking at Bitcoin here. Historically, the best time to buy Bitcoin, unless you were buying like pre-2013, where it was just, complete network effect so early going into these big pumps. The best time to buy Bitcoin has been on this green logarithmic regression band. This has been the time to accumulate, right? So we're actually seeing Bitcoin resting on this green accumulation level, which is currently at $20,500. Yes, we can drop below it, but we've only dropped below it twice. We've dropped below it twice, and both times we popped right back above it. Now, obviously, these logarithmic regression bands don't have to hold. They're not just like magic lines in the sand that, given the circumstances, that we can't break down below and hold below and start closing below. We could break this pattern. And if we drew another logarithmic regression band underneath this, I'm not going to, throw it on, but maybe we see Bitcoin go down there. Right? That would be the bearish scenario. However, we've never really broken and sustained levels below this green band in Bitcoin's history before. So that's a bottom signal in my opinion, right? You can, always find a reason to ignore the technical patterns, but I don't think that's a good habit to get into. I don't think it's a good habit to ignore the support signals that we are actually getting on really solid long-term indicators. Very similar story with the easy bands. Green easy bands from 2014 to 2016, this bear market, right? All local bottoms. We hit this green easy band 3 times. All were local bottoms, right? The third one was the bear market bottom. So yes, we can hit this green easy band and bounce off of it, right? And go deeper. But in the short term, we're looking at least at some sort of a relief rally, if not a longer term bottom. Last bear market cycle, we hit this green band twice. Both were local bottoms, and both were essentially bear market bottoms. We kind of had this first bear market, right? We had the second, this big rally, this midterm kind of mid-cycle rally where we pumped 350%. I would call this a bull market, right? I know a lot of people are like, hey, this whole thing was a bear market. Well, not really. We kind of had a bear market, a bull market, and then another bear market. The 2 bear market bottoms here were on this green easy band level almost perfectly. We did wick slightly below it, but we did not spend much time at all below this green easy band. Now we're approaching this green easy band, which is currently at around $18,000, right? I don't know if we'll get there, but if we do, I would sustain that is a great buying level, right? To note, we have not dropped below, right, our previous market cycle high. And that would be, again, another good buying opportunity. But what I do want to draw people's attention to is the fact that what we're seeing right here is forced selling and emotional panic selling, which whenever you get forced selling and emotional panic selling, that is usually the best time to buy. Forced selling, emotional panic selling. Yes, we can go lower. Yes, we could wick down to $14,000. But let's just pretend for a moment that, hey, you bought this a little bit early and you bought Bitcoin at $5,500. Oh, big deal. It dropped for like a week to $3,700. You could have gotten in a little bit cheaper, but it's pretty arrogant, in my opinion, to think that you can time the bottom perfectly with all your money. And it's a much safer and smarter play, in my opinion, to dollar cost average in. So, I mean, we're in the green easy band accumulation region, which we don't get often. It's a very simple strategy. Just turn the DCA on when you get in this region, right? And turn it off when we pop back up out of it. If we go deeper and we start seeing sustained bear market levels of $13,000 to $15,000 and these green easy bands come down to that level, then hey, we'll just turn the DCA back on. We got to have a long-term mindset. But what I'm talking about is the reason I know this is forced selling and emotional selling is because nobody who bought Bitcoin from December of 2020 onwards for the last year and a half, we're in June, right? No, two and a half years, right? This was December, yes, 2021, 2020, no, year and a half. Yeah, year and a half, sorry. So for the last 18 months, anybody who's bought Bitcoin has paid above a price of roughly $30,000. Yeah, we had not much volume at all has traded below $30,000 in the last year and a half. So all of the Bitcoin that's been purchased for all practical purposes, or 98% of it, has been purchased at a price of $30,000. Nobody wants to sell for a loss. Nobody wants to sell below $30,000. The only reason people are selling down here is because they're panicking, right? And they're realizing losses. They're panicking because of these potential liquidations and insolvencies in the market. And then you have forced selling from people like Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, that are over leveraged and have to actually sell. They don't want to sell. When they bought their Bitcoin, they didn't plan to sell it at 21K. They didn't plan to sell it at $23,000. These are people that bought Bitcoin with the long term in mind, planning to hold it for a long time because they believed in Bitcoin so much that they were willing to get leveraged on the market, right? And they just became irresponsible and had poor risk management. And now they're being forced to sell it at low prices. So this is forced selling, and usually forced selling is something you want to buy. Go ahead.
Hey, just real quick, because you're on the topic. What are your thoughts on, so you talk about people not wanting to sell when they bought over 30, right? Well, what about if people are forced to sell because of the bad macro climate we're in? Is that something that's in play for you? People that would typically hodl are now forced to kind of sell?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people got overextended, whether they used leverage or they just bought spot and they invested more than they could afford. So they're paying the price, and they're giving the people that were responsible a massive opportunity. They're giving the people like Apple, and I'm not saying that Apple is going to come in and buy a bunch of Bitcoin. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think they could view this as an opportunity, but people like Apple who have ridiculously large cash positions and need to put it to work somewhere, they now have this opportunity, and the option, right, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take advantage of it, but they now can play around with the idea of, hey, we could buy Bitcoin when it's down a lot, and we have the cash to do so because we've been doing well business-wise, and we never have gotten over leveraged, and we're not having to force sell. This is where people just they really get it backwards, right? And so many people refuse to sell up here at $55,000 to $60,000 because, it could go higher, it could go to 100,000. They don't just trim and take a little bit of profit up here because, hey, we just broke our all-time high. It could go to 100, 150K. Same reason people aren't buying down here, or people are afraid to buy right here. I don't want to buy at $20,000 with the long-term in mind, knowing that Bitcoin next market cycle will probably break $100,000, right? Because, it could drop to $15,000. It could drop to $10,000. This is why the appropriate strategy, in my opinion, if you believe in Bitcoin, is just to DCA in. While people are forced selling. So yeah, to answer your question, 100%. I think people have less money. They're getting killed by inflation, high prices, and they may have to be selling their Bitcoin at low prices in order to cover rent. And this is why I've stressed so much, especially for the last couple of weeks, is that the number one goal, 100%, is to stay solvent and have cash flow. That is it. If you can stay solvent and have cash flow enough to buy these low levels and continue to average in, if we get even deeper opportunities down here at $15,000 or even $10,000, which for the record, I don't think that we're going to get. I don't think we're going to see $10,000. But if you're solvent enough during this period of time, that is when you make the most money. Just like the people who are solvent and had capital to deploy moving into a pandemic and bought the fear. Like this was, people are always, I always hear people say, or I've heard for the last year and a half, I wish I was around in the bear market and paying attention so I could have bought crypto at dirt cheap prices in the bear market. But the truth, to be honest, is that these people that say that, they wouldn't have pulled the trigger down here because they'd have been too afraid. They'd have said, oh, we're going into a pandemic. Who in their right mind is going to be spending money on Bitcoin? Who's going to be buying Bitcoin going into a pandemic? Everything's getting locked down for weeks and months. The economy is going to slow down and grind to a halt. Why would I buy Bitcoin for $5,000? In fact, I need to sell my Bitcoin, right, and get out because I need money to get through a pandemic in case I lose my job. But the people who had capital and cash flow and were solvent enough to buy this dip made a ridiculous amount of money. And the same thing goes for previous periods of overselling. So yeah, 100%. It's all about being solvent. A couple other charts and indicators I do want to bring up is in Crypto Stackers Pro. These levels have been solid, and I do mean really, really solid. So these are the sunset levels that measure risk to reward. Right. So taking our risk being that we bottom back out around $3,900 or $4,000, we see Bitcoin go back to 4K, and our reward scenario is a retest of the previous all-time high. We're seeing strong support at $20,000, just like we saw a really nice bounce at 25K, this 2-to-1 ratio level, and just like we saw consolidation between our 3-to-1 and 2-to-1. And bounces between our 1-to-1 and 2-to-1. So these levels that measure there we get rid of that. These levels that measure these support levels are really, really strong, right? This is just simply identifying the risk to reward levels between our high and our low. And it's telling us that if you buy Bitcoin under $20,090, you're getting a 3-to-1 risk to reward. That is very attractive, especially on an asset that is attractive in the long term as Bitcoin is, right? You're getting 3-to-1 on a very, very unlikely risk scenario and a very, very likely reward scenario that we do make a new all-time high next market cycle. I do also want to show you guys a couple of margin pressure levels that indicate strong support at $20,000. So 19.7K off of this last local low, right? That is around $10,000. You can see how these levels played out historically, and you can see their significance. Our 19.8K previous all-time high, our retest of that all-time high before we got a little bit of a correction, and now we're holding that 20K level as a support. But we do have a lot of buying incentive coming into the market at $19.8 thousand, not just because it was our previous all-time high, but also because you can start hiding those liquidation points on 2x long leverage down below $10,000, which can't be understated. $10,000 is major support. Leveraged buyers want to come in and use 2x leverage, and they want to keep those liquidation points as safe as possible, right? The likelihood that Bitcoin goes to $11,000, that's far more likely in the minds of leveraged traders than actually breaching $10,000. If we breach $10,000, yeah, a lot of people are going to get liquidated down here because there's going to be a lot of people tucking their liquidation points below 10K. And because of them believing that Bitcoin can't drop below 10K, that gives them confidence to buy on 2x leverage at 20K, right? Short margin pressure levels, very interesting. We'll take it from our previous all-time high just so we can see that these actually do manifest. We had really nice consolidation between the 2x and the 3x short, a bounce at the 1x short, resistance at the 2x short, kind of bouncing between these levels. We ended up falling through, right? If we take from our next local high, this gave us the level that we ultimately bounced off of, our 1x short level. We didn't get back up to our 2x short level, which is pretty uncommon for a bounce off of the 1x short, right? If we take from our last major local high at 48,000, we see that we got resistance on our 2x short level, right? And this gives us a really nice target for resistance, and to understand that shorters will start coming in at $24,000. So if we get a bounce off 20K, expect resistance at 24K, right? So trading this range between 20 and 24K, if you're a shorter term trader, is a potentially good, range trading opportunity in the next week or so. If we go off of our next local high, we see this consolidation that's happened between the 2X and the 3X. Really nice range trading opportunities in there. We've broken down below. And we're starting to see a little bit of support at this 1X short, but this 1X short is more off of this 40K resistance level, which is our last little local high before we really started to spill off. And now we're seeing that support around 20K.
Hey,
so
Forrest,
there's a ton of support at 20K. Go ahead.
Real quick, I know you're selling me on Bitcoin right now, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking, and it's. You already know, man. I'm like, I've been DCAing into ETH. My last buy was a 1080. So, anyways, are you still bullish on ETH, or do you think right now maybe is a good time just to kind of shift over to Bitcoin? I mean, there's been a little bit of drama with the merge and obviously the staked ETH. I mean, have you changed your sentiment at all, or I don't know? I was just trying to get your vibe between DCAing into Bitcoin right now or ETH. I don't know.
ETH 100% for me. It's not even a question. I think ETH. I'm more bullish on ETH on just about every single time frame that exists, down to like the daily. Honestly, I think this could get ugly, and the staked ETH situation could get nasty. But that's like just an incredible opportunity. If you're like me and you believe in Ethereum long term, which I do, and I do think that we're going to get a ridiculous rebound to some degree, whether it's next market cycle or it's just post merge. Right? I know a lot of people will be liquidating some of their staked ETH and redeeming that for Ethereum once they unlock that, but I believe that's like 6 months after the official merge, which could be another buying opportunity. But we're talking about no longer seeing miners sell on the open market. We're talking about a currency moving from inflationary to deflationary, and I think that's in the long term a very, very powerful aspect of Ethereum. There's a burn function that accrues value to the token. I am just very, very bullish on Ethereum long term, and the fact that it's down, however much percent it's down, I think it's like 75%, if I'm not mistaken. 79-80% is just a ridiculous opportunity. Historically, if you could have bought Ethereum 80% off, it was always a good buy in the long term. Yes, there's risk that we go lower. Yes, we historically have gone lower in previous market cycles, but in 2 years, are you really going to care if you bought Ethereum at 1,000 versus 800? Do you really want to miss the opportunity of buying it at $1,000 or $1,100 versus, potentially missing out on a buy because you're worried about it going to 600, right? Imagine buying last market cycle Ethereum at $279. What an amazing buy. An amazing buy. And yes, you could have gotten cheaper levels, and you would have if you'd have dollar cost averaged, all the way down on the easy bands. But there's just no guarantee that we do see a 95% decrease in an asset that is built as much as Ethereum has in the last market cycle. Maybe we do, and if we do, I'll continue to just DCA into ETH, but majorly bullish on Ethereum in the long term.
Now, hey, Forrest. Obviously with what's going on in Celsius, right? Them being one of the leaders in DeFi, ETH has the most total value locked in DeFi. A majority of what ETH is in is DeFi. Well, what happens if Celsius implodes and the regulators come in and essentially start regulating DeFi like in the security sector? What kind of effect do you think that would have on not just the price of Ethereum, but the network itself in the long run, right? You're still going to have NFTs. You're still going to have the smart contracts, but DeFi is a very large part of that ecosystem. Well, if that thing implodes...
The CFTC's deemed it as a commodity, so you can't regulate it like a security period.
No, I'm saying the DeFi market, right? Okay. So DeFi market gets regulated as part of the securities market, let's just say, which is a large portion of ETH and as far as total value locked. What kind of effect do you think that'll have on the ETH network in the future if that does happen?
Yeah, so I think regulators are going to try to kick the crypto market while it's down. I think regulation to some degree is going to start coming in. It's tough to say. Honestly, I think it's a good opportunity. I don't think that the people that have built all of these DeFi protocols and primitives and spent years of their lives contributing to Ethereum, the Ethereum ecosystem, and just the decentralized finance ecosystem to begin with, are going to stop building. If there are regulatory guidelines, we'll probably start to see some shifts in the way things are built. Alternatively, we may see the rise of DarkFi. We may see the rise of privacy solutions where, it's stuff like Monero, where it's you just bridge your money into the crypto ecosystem, and then you get on Ethereum, and you can still take advantage of these DeFi solutions, except for it's anonymous and private. We're seeing huge leaps and bounds.
DarkFi sounds intriguing, bro. I don't even know. I ain't even heard that before, man. Woo!
I like that.
Like, I just want to go do some DarkFi this weekend, bro. I don't even know what's going on, bro.
Yeah. I mean, privacy is becoming a bigger and bigger narrative, and the more regulation that we see, the more money I believe is going to flow into privacy-based solutions. I believe that privacy is a right, and I think I would prefer it if our transactions could be private. And we're seeing huge leaps and bounds in the ZK, or the zero knowledge proof space. We're seeing Zcash really come up with some great technology. We're seeing Starkware. We've got a ton of ZK tech coming up, and all of that is the fundamental basis for how a lot of these transactions can become private in the future. So then it's just as simple as, hey, you're going to get your money on into the crypto ecosystem through some sort of an on-ramp that's non-KYC, or some sort of an on-ramp that maybe you buy Bitcoin, which you do have to KYC for an exchange with, but then you can just send that or swap it for wrapped Bitcoin, and then all of a sudden you're in the DeFi ecosystem again. So I think if I had to choose a side, do I want to be on the side, like if it's regulators versus crypto, like cypherpunks, who am I going to pick in that head-to-head battle? I don't think I'm going to pick regulators. I think a lot of people will pick regulators in that battle. And I think that ultimately the people that have built what we've seen get built aren't going to quit, and they're going to find loopholes and ways around. Now, could that hurt long-term adoption, and could that hurt large institutions from being comfortable coming in? Sure, but I also don't know that they're going to regulate Ethereum into the ground. And I think having a fear of that is really conducive to missing a really major opportunity, right? They've had opportunities to regulate this. It's been around for a while. I don't think that they're just going to throw down an Ethereum ban, especially after they move to proof of stake. And then they can't even stand on the argument of, hey, this is bad for the environment, or, consumes a lot of energy. So yeah, I just think in that head-to-head battle, the people and decentralization is gonna win out.
On Litecoin, because that Wimble's got that privacy feature. Watch out.
Yeah, and actually, it's been taken off of some exchanges because of that. And
Korea.
I'm not the biggest fan of Litecoin, but yeah.
This guy's a Litecoin hater right here, dude.
Garbage.
It's been around for a while, man.
Dude, all we do is research. When was the last thing you heard about our Litecoin except the Wimble thing? Literally a week ago. Litecoin's a dead project.
It'll be around longer than a lot of other projects. Put it that way.
So, Forrest, I want to get your opinion on something. Okay, so you're a technician. You're a technicals guy. I am as well. But when you talk about technical analysis, it's essentially a look back at what price action and sentiment and what traders have done in the past and how we can extrapolate that into the future. But do you put less weight on technicals and more on fundamentals and sentiment when in this scenario we're in today, we have never been in a climate like we've been in as far as being in a recession, not having the money printer go off, quantitative easing not being there anymore? Are you putting less weight on moving averages, all the technicals, and more into sentiment and fundamentals, you personally?
Yeah, so fundamentals for me is just a framework for choosing which cryptocurrencies to invest in, right? So I'm looking at fundamentals in terms of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, proof of work versus proof of stake. Which am I more bullish on in the future? Something that requires energy, and then I look at energy prices. Energy prices are rising, and I'm not fudding Bitcoin here. I think it's got an amazing brand, and it'll be a number one for some time to come. If anything can flip it, it'll probably be Ethereum. Bitcoin's gone down quite a while. Ethereum is no longer in striking distance. We do have a merge coming up. We'll see. But if I'm looking at the long term and just that's kind of the framework through which I look at fundamentals. Like, do I want to put my money in Bitcoin or ETH right now? Well, I look at the fundamentals and I look at, hey, ETH is super, super oversold, more oversold than Bitcoin, and we have a big catalyst coming up. So fundamentals are the framework for which I choose where to put my money. When to actually buy and what levels to buy, I am actually weighting technical analysis very, very highly because I believe the market is fairly efficient. Yes, there's some reflexivity where we get that emotional selling and trends continue on for longer than we think they do. Things go higher than we think they do, or things go lower than we think they're going to because everybody piles in an emotional way. But I think for the most part, given enough time, especially when you let the market consolidate a little bit and we see it kind of move sideways, a lot of the risk ends up being priced in. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I think that Ethereum is 79, 80% discounted, not because, I believe that all the risks in the current space, global, ETH, staked ETH versus ETH, Celsius, 3 Arrows Capital, all those variables are contributing to the actual current price that we see out of Ethereum. That is why Ethereum is trading for 80% off right now. I don't think it's the opposite way around. I don't think it's, hey, there's all of these variables, and those are the ones, all these risk variables are going to contribute to Ethereum going down to $200. I hope that makes sense. I look at it as if the price is an accurate reflection of the current situation. And just based off of technicals, we know where sellers are incentivized to stop selling. We know where buyers are incentivized to start buying. And we can start, using technicals and looking at historical patterns and indicators to tell us, hey, this is an oversold period of time. And usually if it's a good asset that has strong fundamentals, it's going to bounce back in future market cycles. So you pit the two against, or you put the two together, and all of a sudden you've got, hey, this is where I want to put my money, and this is when I want to put my money in there, when it's oversold, when fear's at an all-time high, when the market is overpricing in to the downside all of the risks, which I believe is currently happening. I think the 3 Arrows Capital FUD, the Celsius FUD, which are all legitimate situations that could cause price to go further down, but I think the risk has probably been overstated and is being priced into a higher degree than it probably should. Especially if we start seeing oil prices decrease, especially if we start to see stuff come out. Now, that being said, I am not discounting the risk and the fact that we could go lower, in which case, and that's why my strategy is DCA. That's why I'm not going all in on Ethereum. It's why I didn't go all in at 1400. It's why I didn't go all in at 1700, both of which were completely logical places for us to have some local Ethereum bottoms. Just like $1,000 is a very logical place for us to have a local bottom in Ethereum. That's why I DCA. I'm buying all of these levels all the way down, and I'll continue to buy them down all the way to $300 or $400 Ethereum. And honestly, the lower we go, the cheaper Ethereum we get, and the more money we make in the next market cycle. So hopefully that answers that question.
Definitely. That was, it's nice to get different viewpoints from, people who've been in the industry for such a long time. So I was just curious. For me, I'm thinking, you look back at history and say price has done this when it hits, or, I saw something on a video today when the 100-day moving average or crosses over the 20-day moving average or something, historically it's done this. Well, I'm like, historically it's only been here for 13 years. There was no recession. There was no quantitative tightening. There was no inflation rate hike. So how much weight can we really put on past price movement if we're predicting into the future in an area we've never been in? So I was just curious to get your take on it, but that was really good information. Rob, you want to... No ETH questions though, okay? No, hey, where's my next ETH buy, Forrest? All
right, well...
By the way, Robin bought his first NFT. He's going to show it on Monday. Robin, I'm proud of you, man.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's officially part of the NFT
that's right,
crowd.
Man. It took me a while. You know what? I'll just wait for the discounts. I was waiting for the market steam to let out, and then now I'm over here like, oh, this looks cool. It's pretty cheap too. There you go.
You're gonna be a DJ now.
Watch out before I pull up with a Bored Ape, bro.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, Forrest, thank you so much. Yeah, have fun with that. Thank you so much again for your time. We really appreciate it. I know our community appreciates you. We appreciate you, and enjoy your weekend, my friend. And we will see you next Friday.
Have a good one, brother.
Thanks for your weekend. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Forrest. Take care. Man. Guys, go subscribe to this man's channel. The link is in the description of this video. Go follow him on Twitter at 0xstacker. If you do TA, if you're looking for entry and exit points, I mean, this man literally has paved the way of the easiest investment strategy you can possibly have, right? When it gets into this range of the dashed lines, DCA on. When it gets out of it, DCA off. When it gets in the upper range, DCA out. Simple. That is in the bio as well. The Crypto Stackers Pro sign up. Make sure you do yourselves a favor. If you do charts, if you're looking to trade, yes, man, I love having him on. I love. You're not as big on TA as I am. I love TA, and watching his TA is awesome. So we appreciate Forrest again. Thank you so much.
Oh, I like TA. I don't know. I can't do it every day. Just the charts put me to sleep.
Yeah. Green good, red bad. That's right. All right, hot take. Let's go.
That's hot.
All right. So our hot take is this. What will regulators here in the U.S., what will regulators do if Celsius goes bankrupt? Will they completely ban companies like BlockFi, Nexo? Will they try to regulate them? Will they try to push into law a bill that says you have to register security? Or will they try to work with them? Okay, so I'll go first. I think what you're going to see happen if Celsius goes bankrupt, you're going to see each individual state, right, go in and let's take Nexo, for example. Hey, Nexo, you're offering your lending, borrowing products and services in our state. We need this, and this. We need to see your balance sheet. We need to see how collateralized you are. We need to see if you're under collateralized. We need to see where your money is. And if you can't show us that, cease and desist orders are going to start coming. I don't think they're going to try to blanket ban DeFi. I could be wrong. I don't think, because what that'll do is people will freak out, start pulling money out, and the companies will go bankrupt, and the people on the back end will end up getting screwed. So I think the smart thing to do, which smart and regulators, it's hard to put them in the same sentence, would be to go, if you're the state of, let's say, Nevada, and you got Nexo and BlockFi and Unchained Capital here, guys, we need disclosures. We need to see where's your money, how do you plan on paying these people out if they ask for their money, like bam, 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 bam. If you can provide us with that, you can continue using your, offering your services and products in our state. If you can't, you're gone. You got to go bye-bye. So that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. That would make the most sense. Robin, I'm curious to see what your take is.
I think there's just a simple presumption that it's going to be regulated to death. Here's the thing. First of all, Celsius wasn't even available in the U.S. Their services weren't available in the U.S. Not saying you couldn't get exposure to it. You could VPN. You could go through third party, through other exchanges.
Bro, DGens find ways.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, they didn't offer services in the U.S. And so you could very simply be like, well, look what Celsius is like. Well, they didn't even offer services. You're talking about U.S. regulation for a company that didn't even operate in the U.S.
But you have, okay, so then why do you have states that are launching investigations?
I'm not, like I said, if you want exposure to something, you really want it, you can get it. If there's an altcoin if I want to go buy XRP, I can go buy XRP. Even though it's delisted from the trading platforms. I'm just saying that I don't think, if this would have been a Coinbase or another protocol that was, here in the United States, that would be a different story. However, this is not an operation technically here in the States. And so I think for that reason, I don't think it's going to be this huge crackdown. Now, with that said, DeFi in general looks to be taking some lumps, one company after another. At some point, this is going to affect companies here in the U.S., and you can easily point the finger to these lending platforms overseas. But as of right now, is it really a U.S. problem? It's not, because these are operating overseas with most of the money coming from venture capital companies invested in them that are also operating overseas. And so that's my take on it. Now,
okay, Celsius you can use their products and services. It's I believe their token or something, but people are using.
You can buy their token. Oh, well, their token isn't even listed on any real U.S. exchanges.
Right.
So if you pull up the Celsius token, see what markets it's available. First of all, so taking a look at the markets for Celsius, I mean, there's FTX. That's it.
Yeah, and they're not even FTX US.
Yeah, not even FTX US. So
Well, I don't
yeah.
know if they're separated, but
They are separated. They have two different, and on here, yeah, you probably can't pick it up on FTX US.
so maybe the coin isn't available in the US, but their
What I'm
services
saying-
are available.
What I'm saying is that yes, if you want exposure to it, you can get it, but realistically, it's not a US company. And they're not operating in the U.S. Now, if you're a citizen in the United States and you have internet connection and you want to go invest in it, then go
they
ahead.
are operating in the US, bro.
And so
They operate in all 50 states.
No, I get that, but I'm saying like you can get exposure to them, but they're not. Their token isn't out there.
The token isn't available, and the
Okay.
US might not be the biggest
and when
market.
we sat
but-
down and talked to Celsius, he literally said our staking or yield or whatever it is not available for in the U.S. Because we were talking about what happened with BlockFi and their settlement, and they were like, well, that's why we're not in the U.S. I remember having that conversation.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know.
And each state has different, right? So some states might allow them to offer these services, some states might not. So it just varies state by state. U.S. is very unique, and the states have a lot more power than other countries who are formed in a similar way that the U.S. is. So, but regardless,
I don't. So, as far as regulation, and then at the end of the day, like, you know, you're gonna probably see the same kind of system that you have for the exchanges, where you have a lending platform, yield bearing interest accounts, where those companies are stationed abroad. Basically, you know, they operate abroad. And then they're going to offer U.S. services, and they're going to come in the form of a U.S. version of the app. So the same way you got Binance.us is just a fraction of what the real Binance is. And the real Binance is the global player. And if you were to just remove Binance as the parent company and only keep the U.S. company, because technically they're two different companies. They have their own separate CEO. There's a different CEO. It's not CZ, who's the CEO of Binance.us. It's a completely different company. They just use the parent name. And so I could see a BlockFi or Curve Finance having their normal operations and then having a U.S. version where they just offer 2% or 4% interest on, say, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and a handful of other assets. And then you have the overseas version where it's a, all free game, it's just a free for all. You got like thousands of tokens, 100x leverage, and all this other stuff. And that's how I think it's going to shape up. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts.
fair enough. It's just like I said, the U.S. is very different, and it allows individual states to set certain boundaries and limitations to what products and services you can offer. But
I mean, here's the thing: if a company overseas scams you, the United States government can still hold them accountable.
Right.
So it's not just in the same way that somebody that's not a citizen can come into the States, commit a crime, leave, and they're still culpable for what's going on here. So it's not that there's no liability. I'm not sitting here saying that. I'm just saying on a grand regulation, impose sanctions and all this other stuff, and governments holding hearings and all this. I don't see that extent of it because they weren't operating and based out of the U.S. And now, if it would have been a Coinbase that went under, that'd be. Then all of a sudden, like, bro, here it comes, man. We're gonna have.
If Coinbase goes, I don't even want to talk about that because I don't think it's. I can't see it.
Yeah, it's a big company. It's been around since 2012.
It's been through multiple.
And so
Multiple.
I read a book on the startup of that. Man. Really
Rob, we got a new member in the chat. We have Sarah.
Oh, Sarah. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
So she said some insight. She said, you cannot get the token in the U.S. Those that deposited crypto early on got grandfathered into earning yield. No new U.S. money could earn yield, but you could still put coins on the exchange.
So as I mentioned, I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, you want exposure to something, you're going to get it. If there's an altcoin I want to buy, like if I got my site set on the altcoin, I will literally put a VPN, create an account in an exchange in China, and then I'll just buy it there and I'll send it out to a DeFi wallet. Like, if you want something that bad, you'll get it. So that's not in question. But anyways.
All right. Let's move on.
It's Stereo 2 up in here, man. Get back to your vacation. Stop watching the show. Thank you.
What are you trying to say? You don't like Eddie?
What's Eddie got to do anything?
I don't know. I love Eddie. Eddie, I love you. Hot talking points. Let's go.
I thought you said hot dog.
Hot dog, diggity dog. Robin mentioned this. Another lending DeFi platform is in hot water. Babel Finance. Go ahead and pull up my laptop, Eddie. Suspends withdrawals as crypto markets slump. And you know what's getting bad when CNBC starts covering Babel Finance. This is something that's going to stay in not just the crypto news media, but the mainstream news media. They are going to absolutely crush the crypto industry. They're going to drive sentiment down so bad to sell your bags into the hands of HNWs. High net worth individuals. So reading on, Hong Kong-based Babel Finance temporarily suspended the withdrawals and redemption of crypto assets on Friday as a crypto lender scrambles to pay its clients after the recent slump in the digital currency market. There's a quote from the company. Recently, the crypto market has seen major fluctuations, and some institutions in the industry have experienced conductive risk events. Due to the current situation, Babel Finance is facing unusual liquidity pressures. Babel, which has 500 clients and limits itself to Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins, raised $80 million in funding round last month, valuing the company at $2 billion. And it ended last year with $3 billion of loan balances on its balance sheet. Now, 500 clients isn't anywhere near the gravity of Celsius, right? Celsius is about 1.7 million. But still, $3 billion loan balances on his balance sheet. Rob, is this just the next domino of many more dominoes?
It is the next domino. Now, of course, you can sit here and say, well, they just halted trading. You know what? Binance halted trading for, what was it, on Bitcoin for 6 hours? Yeah. So I guess not the end of the world, but as time goes on and as you lose connectivity or the ability to transfer or make transactions or whatever you're trying to accomplish there, the longer that's down, the worse it is. And it seems as though we tried to pull up if there was any press release or anything. Nothing. They're just ghosting everybody. So, not the biggest lender, not a name that everybody's familiar with, but it's hard to dispute $3 billion worth of debt or assets. I mean, if you look at the market cap for cryptocurrency's entirety is underneath $900 billion.
Wait, what? The crypto market cap is under 9 billion or 900 billion?
Yeah, it's 891
Holy
billion.
Shit.
And so,
that's
10%. So at this point, 10% is $80 billion. So just to put them in perspective, 10% of the entire market cap is $80 billion. And so if you were to liquidate or freeze or close down or shut down or not make good on your debt, $3 billion is a big ass chunk of the entire crypto space. And so you might not be familiar with Babel, but if you tag this on, man, on top of what is already being accounted for or not accounted for from Celsius, what has already been lost from Terra Luna and UST, all of the money locked up in Three Arrows Capital. And then you know what scared me?
And not just the money locked up, but the money they owe people.
Pull up the investments that Three Arrows Capital has. And so how much money or of these? Okay, so what happens when you invest in something, right? When you invest in something, you're holding a lot of the tokens, right?
Right.
And so if you're Three Arrows Capital, You're invested in a lot of small projects. You're probably holding like what 5% of their tokens. If you're a big VC, maybe 10%. And so if that's the case and they go under, Three Arrows Capital goes under, what happens to all those tokens they have? They get liquidated, bro. Right? They get liquidated alongside it. And if they're trying to pay off debt, those are going to be liquidated for cash to sell. Now pull that up right there. Now take a look. Mina Protocol and Avalanche.
Near.
So if this goes under, how much Mina Protocol do they have on hand? And how much of that will be dumped when they liquidate? Same thing with Avalanche. Same thing with Aave there.
Aave. I mean,
so when I say these are all interconnected and that the fall of one is a domino to another, this is what will,
by the way, this company
cripple the market.
This company, Finblocks. I thought I had an article.
You know what's scary is that Aave's in there, bro. I mean, think about it. Like, how much money do they owe Aave? And what if they don't make good on their debt? And Aave is already kind of like borderline, trying to get through.
Finblocks. I did some research on them. Let me see what I got for Finblocks. I thought I had an article on Finblocks, but I guess I don't. Anyways, they're in some hot water as well.
So yeah, I'm really bullish. So scroll back up. I'm really bullish on Zmina in the bear market, and I'm thinking, I can scoop that up for cheap. But
here's the thing: Forrest mentioned the ZK knowledge.
If you get punched in the face in the bear market and you're barely struggling, you might not come back. That's what we saw in 2018. Yeah. We saw all these great potential ICOs and projects and ideas and DeFi and all of this initial capital flowed in, and then they just couldn't sustain themselves through the bear market when all of their value just fell out. And it's either you run at bare bones and you scrape by, and all the while innovating and pushing your roadmap forward at basically zero profit or probably at a loss for years. Can you sustain that? Because if you can't, you go under and you pull what you have left and you walk away. And that's what happened. And I feel like this is starting to rear its ugly head again. And I think a lot of these projects that people feel comfortable in, the projects that are outside the top 50 might, like when I say like those are riskier buys, they legit are, man. They are riskier buys. I feel I want to get into Harmony. I want to get into Mina. I want to get into Kadena. I want to get into, all of these lower projects. But I mean,
you know what, guys?
You're playing with risk. Just know. I mean, Curve. Pull up my laptop. Look. All of these, man. I would really. Everything here in the
here you got. Are you talking about on the crypto market?
I'm just talking about I'm talking about these smaller projects. These, if they're over invested or they're over leveraged into venture capital, say they just took a crap ton of money through their seed rounds, and tons of their tokens are sitting on some of these platforms that might go under, your Celsius, your Three Arrows Capital, now your Babel, like. You might not make it, bro. That's all I'm saying. There's potential for 100Xs all down here, man. There's so many 100Xs here in the next bull market, but at the same time, there's also a bunch of zeros in here. That's what scares me, man.
I'm sorry. I am putting. So Robin brought up a really, really good point. Okay. When companies like Aave and Mina, when they raise money from VCs and hedge funds like Three Arrows Capital, part of their compensation back is coins. And if they are forced to liquidate everything, they're going to liquidate all their coins. So what I will do, and now what I'm doing for you guys, is I have dropped the link to pull up my laptop, Eddie. I have dropped the link to this website. It shows everything Three Arrows Capital is invested in, okay? Do yourselves a favor. And I'm not saying this to scare you, and I'm not saying it's something you should do, but if you hold any of these coins, consider if Three Arrows Capital goes under, has to liquidate their position, consider what it could do to the price of these tokens right here. And I'll leave it at that. You do with that information what you want. If it was
let's also see what Babel holds, because they're also, well, they have a smaller amount of tokens, and they're more of a lending platform. Very
Babel
similar.
only does Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Here,
never
let me
mind.
just double check.
But these
right here.
these companies,
Limits
these venture
itself.
capital and these lending, they're all
Bitcoin
interconnected. So that's what truly scares me, man. All right.
Yeah, so only Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins. Speaking of stablecoins, Tether is dumping. Market cap
Tether?
is under. Well, the market cap. I'm not trying to scare everyone. It's not depegged. Market cap is dumped under 70 billion. We were at almost 85 2-3 weeks ago. So, anyways, like I was saying, do yourselves a favor. This is the part where we start getting ahead of it and try to figure out, okay, if 3 Arrows goes under, these tokens, if you're holding any of them, anticipate it could go to zero. It could not sustain a big sell-off. So keep that in mind. The link is going to be in the description of this live video. Also, we have XTZ in the house. Tezos. Call him Tezos. We give my man Tezos an hola.
My boy Tezos. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
And Lil Uzi Vert is in here too.
Lil Uzi?
It's Lil Uzi Vert. Okay. All right. You know, Robin, that was a great point. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about that. Everyone talks about 3 Arrows goes under, the people they owe money to. Well, what about the coins they have on their balance sheet? They're gonna have to go buy.
They probably have a ton. They probably have.
They've
ton
had
of
their
those problems.
they've had
and
their
what
hand in a
scares
lot
me
of-
is the fact that Avi's on there, bro. And what was it, Curve Finance as well, right?
Didn't see. I doubt Curve is on there, honestly, but I could be wrong. The big ones are obviously Ave's a big one. Yearn is a big one. Avalanche is a big one. Near, which is a project I was looking to invest into as kind of like a dark horse. Kusama's on there.
Didn't Near also have? They had a big pump lately, didn't they?
Near was pumping before we came crashing down as an entire market. Kyber, I know that's a popular one. Ardana's on there. Balancer. I mean, these are coins a lot of people hold. What else? Trader Joe, again tied to Avalanche. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at that in depth. This is not the time to get complacent, guys. It's good that you're watching the show. We try to keep you up to date on everything, but it doesn't stop there. It shouldn't stop there. This is your money. You should be looking into stuff like this outside of watching just a YouTube show. And so if we can provide you resources, we will share them with you.
David, did you like my thumbnail that we put
Dude,
together,
that
man?
thumbnail was one of my
In case you didn't know who that was, it's Alex Mashinsky, the CEO and founder of
bow and arrow. And guess how many
of
arrows they had?
Celsius, and he's shooting a 3 arrows bow and arrow.
Yeah, that was very creative, Robin. I got to give you some credit. All right, let's move on. I mentioned this briefly. Texas, New Jersey, Alabama, and other U.S. states have launched an investigation into Celsius Network. The move by Celsius to block withdrawals is being looked at by several U.S. jurisdictions. Celsius has responded to the inspector's inquiries. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has also been in touch with Celsius. In September, Celsius was issued a stop and desist order by authorities in the states of Kentucky, New Jersey, and Texas. The officials said that Celsius's interest-bearing products need to be registered as securities. And then just to piggyback off, right, some more Celsius news. Celsius hires Citigroup Bank as advisors to find solutions. They have hired Citigroup as in an advisory capacity. Citigroup is expected to advise Celsius on possible solutions after the troubled crypto lender has stopped withdrawals. This is a quote from Celsius. It is not that Citigroup is going to give Celsius money from its balance sheet. That was what Citigroup said. They were very quick to come out and say, shareholders, don't freak out. We're not giving them money. We're just telling them what to do. Celsius did, however, receive a rescue offer from his direct competitor, Nexo. The conditions will also be analyzed by Citigroup. Citigroup will also be charged with looking for new possible financing options. Both companies have worked together in the past. Here's part of the reason I don't think Mashinsky is just a total piece of dog crap.
When I forward you these links, bro.
Yeah. Okay. On the surface level of what I'm seeing, and I haven't done in-depth research like Robin on the whole Mashinsky background, but it's all about what you're doing, right? He went out, got restructuring lawyers. Went out now, Citigroup. They're continuing to buy up Bitcoin to bring their liquidation price down. It would have been easier to just pull the plug. They didn't do that. Now, eventually, will they have to? I don't know. I'm just saying.
But, so you think I don't think he's doing what's right. I think he's doing what'll keep him from
jail,
from catching fraud charges. And so,
yeah, I mean, that's
regarding, and that's not just the U.S. I mean, that's the European Union. You can get extradited. There's a lot of things that can happen. So don't think that unless you want to go live in Russia. I mean, the dude is from Ukraine. So, I mean, you know, I'm sure you can find safe havens. I'll put it that way. But, you know, if you don't play your cards right, you're going to spend time in jail.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he's over here like, you know, I got to make sure I pay everybody back.
Guys,
because you led people to that pond when you knew it was poisoned. You know, you knew the pond was poisoned and you told people to come and drink from it. And maybe that wasn't your initial idea at first. Maybe you were trying to run a legit company, but in the last few months in this downturn, during this bear market, you were out promoting your product, knowing damn well that you did not have the funds to sustain it. And the only reason you were out promoting your product, the only reason was because you were trying to grab more cash before it failed. And not because you were trying to make the business succeed, but you were just trying to kick the can down the road a little further.
You know, this is one of the reasons our show is so unique, is we both have such different perspectives, and you know, I brought up a point, and to some people you might agree, and then Robin brings up a point, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, that makes sense too. So I just want to throw that out there. This is why Sincere Crypto is one of the best on the show, but I get it. You know, it makes sense. Maybe it's a ploy, him doing all this, hiring Citigroup, blah, 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 to say, hey, when he goes in front of a judge and in front of the SEC, he can say, I tried everything. And that makes sense, Robin. And you could be right. I could be right. Who knows? It'll all unfold at the end, right? A post-mortem will come out, and we'll get all the juicy info, what happened, where money was moving to, if they pulled any money out. So we'll see. Time will tell. But And some of the other big platforms, guys, Aave, BlockFi, Unchained Capital, I haven't written down here, Nexo, Finblocks, Ledin, which is, or Ledin from Canada. If you have money on there, guys, take it out while you can. It is. I don't care if you're getting a 700% yield. It is not worth it. I have a BlockFi credit card, and I had like $200 in, because when I use your credit card, they give you cash back in Bitcoin. I pulled that off. And it was only like $200. So I recommend you do the same. I also recommend you look into cold storage. I use a Trezor Model T. I think that's a lot more friendly, user-friendly, really good interface. So just some things to keep an eye on, okay? All right. Speaking of BlockFi amongst firms that liquidated Three Arrows Capital collateral. BlockFi was one of the companies that liquidated a collateral on a loan from Three Arrows Capital. The company had borrowed Bitcoin from BlockFi, but failed to meet a margin call. We talked about this yesterday.
I said they're done, bro.
Three Arrows?
Yeah.
Oh, they're done.
They're done.
No one's giving them money. They're out of money.
If you don't pay if you don't pay the number one lender, you know what I'm saying? Like when you don't pay your mortgage payment, you ain't paying nothing else. You're not paying the electricity. You're not paying the sewer. You're not paying the trash.
That's a good point.
You're not paying your freaking gym membership. When you stop paying the mortgage, the biggest and most important lender, then you're done, bro. You're done. And so, boom, tombstone, Three Arrows Capital. There you go.
And I just want to point something real quick, and I'm going to pin the message. Brokyoshi brought up a really, 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 really good point. If you're going to buy your first hardware wallet, or if you buy any hardware wallet, never, ever, ever buy it on something like Amazon or a secondary. Always go directly to the website. Google it twice. Make sure it's a direct website, because what people do, they buy them off Trezor, take them onto Amazon. They get the seed phrase, package it up in a fun and sexy way, and you buy from Amazon. They already have your seed phrase. So great point, Brokyoshi. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm 100% in agreement with Robin. If you're not paying your mortgage, you ain't paying your car note. So they're not paying. I mean, literally, what was it? The Twitter thread I read from 8 block trading or some 8 trading block. They're not picking up the phone. They're not talking to anyone. They're not even answering margin calls. So they're getting liquidated and they're getting crushed soon. If you see those tokens I showed you, you see them dumping. We know they're going under. I mean, they're going under anyways, but that'll just be
Hey, toast, bro.
yeah,
Hey, toast.
Yeah, they're done.
I wish we had funeral music sound effect. We don't.
All right. Be careful, guys. Be careful. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital hires financial experts to help stay afloat. Since being hit hard by market sell-off in digital assets, crypto hedge fund 3AC has recruited legal and financial advisors to find a solution for its investors and lenders, company founders announced on Friday. This is a quote from Kyle Davies, who's the co-founder of 3 Arrows. They are committed to working things out and finding an equitable solution for all our constituents. All of the investors, here's, I don't want to say good news, but all of the fund's investors are either wealthy individuals or institutions, obviously. 3 Arrows is investigating its available choices, which may include the sale of its assets, which is what we talked about, which is what Robin talked about, or a takeover by another company.
Oh, bro, here, hold on. Pull up my laptop real quick. Sorry. So here, I just saw an article. Babel Finance suspends withdrawals, which, you know, we just covered that. But going into it, so they said they released a statement saying that very short and sweet. Babel Finance is facing unusual liquidity pressures. Going a little further in here, so yesterday you mentioned FinBlocks made a similar decision. They're also restricting withdrawals to 1,500 per month. Per month. That's not enough, bro.
Read the next part, bro.
And then
read the next part in that same sentence.
And then due to his connection to 3 Arrows Capital. Yep. So
3 Arrows Capital, guys. What I want you to understand, the domino effect it's going to have is going to be massive, and that is part of the reason I asked Forrest that question. We're in a setting we've never been in before.
You did too, and for me, I'm like, bro, what's the point? You know, what's the cascading liquidation point in your opinion? Obviously, he doesn't know off the top of his head. Well, but I'm just saying maybe he does. And then, I want to poke at him. I'm like, hey, 17,000. If we hit that number, where are we going, man? Are we going to 10? We going to 12? Like where does this because right now you agree, right? Institutions are the big money right now, right? Because the retail is kind of exited, right?
They kind of have to.
No, I'm saying, but they already did.
Right.
You know, the retail FOMO, all that money, that SHIB money, and those early, like, oh, Bitcoin hit 30,000. Those people that FOMO'd in, those people are gone, right?
They're gone.
And so what's left is this big VC and institution custodial services, staking platforms. These are the ones that are holding majority of the tokens. And they're one by one getting knocked off the block, bro. Proceed with caution, my dude. Let's get to 50 people in the chat, man. Can we do it in the last 10 minutes?
I hope so.
Break a record, bro. Let's open up this damn club. Let's go.
Club in this. All right. Where was I? Bam, bam, bam. All right. Moving on to some. We're going up north. We're going to Russia. Russia seems to be preparing to mine Bitcoin with flare gas. This is something we saw ExxonMobil, Beyond Petroleum, talk about doing. All that flare, the gas that gets burned, all that flare gas goes bye-bye, harms the environment. Well, these companies have talked about harnessing that power to mine Bitcoin. Well, Russia's doing the same thing. As the government continues establishing links with major players in the crypto mining industry, despite staying skeptical about legalizing the crypto for trading and payments. Russia's state-owned gas giant Gazprom Neft has entered into a partnership with BitRiver, the largest crypto mining colocation services supplier in Russia, providing hosting services for major crypto mining operations. Gazprom will provide BitRiver's partner data centers with electricity generated from the associated petroleum gas. Gazprom is one of the largest oil and gas companies in Russia and also one of the biggest gas suppliers for the EU. Robin, I feel like Russia doesn't know what the hell they want to do. It's like, no, we're not using it for payment. No, you can't trade it, but we want to mine it.
It's a country that doesn't want their citizens to exit the ruble. That's all it is. But they see the power
ruble
of
is in
crypto.
rubles.
So they see the power of crypto. They see the advantages it has as a nation state. But what they don't want is all of their citizens abandoning the bank accounts and the savings accounts and moving into cryptocurrency, not at this moment because their financial system is extremely fragile. They've already taken a bunch of hits. The ruble's already down. Stock market is in shambles. There's sanctions up the wazoo. You can't trade with anybody besides China and a handful of other countries. And so the last thing you want is for your own monetary system, because that's the only thing that's surviving right now. So the only thing you have, you can't use foreign currency. So the only thing you have is your own currency right now. And it's already taking some punches. So you don't want to stress that even more and watch all of your citizens go and rush into crypto. But with that said, it solves so many issues. It solves trading issues. It solves with speed and transactions between the central banks and in other countries that they do trade with. It gives you the possibility for trading pairs when it comes to trading commodities like oil and gas. And so you see a country that wants to take the next step in crypto because they need to, but at the same time, they don't want the people to exit their own monetary system. And so that's why you get one report bullish, one report bearish when it comes to the adoption of cryptocurrency. When it comes to a nation state and adopting crypto mining and maybe scooping up some Bitcoin for yourself or setting up the infrastructure to that way, if you do move into crypto in the future, you have the infrastructure in place. I don't know. That's what I say there. Now, also, we seem like is Eric Hardcastle. Yeah, I said Handcastle. Yeah. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Thanks for tuning in.
To finish off this part of our talking points before we move on to a couple NFT articles, some lighthearted news.
¿Qué pasa?
Well, not really lighthearted, but Elon Musk is being sued for $258 billion for promoting.
Like, who comes up with these numbers? That's literally his net worth. You know that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm suing you for everything you have. Okay, first of all, how are you going to sue somebody for promoting Dogecoin when Dogecoin's market cap is $7 billion? So you're suing him for 30 times what the market cap is in value. You're going to say, okay, Dogecoin's entire value is $7 billion. We're going to multiply that by 30. That's what we're suing you for. It happens to also be how much money you have. Like, get out of here, bro.
A lawsuit has been brought against Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX for participating in the promotion of Dogecoin, which the accuser claims...
Like you liquidate those big-ass rockets and you pay me this money.
Which the user claims is a pyramid scheme. So they think Doge is a pyramid scheme. If that's true, you can say Bitcoin is a pyramid scheme too, I guess. The class action lawsuit is brought to them by Keith Johnson, American citizen who claims to have been, quote, defrauded out of money by Musk's crypto pyramid scheme.
And did he get defrauded out of $258 billion?
The case was filed in the Southern District of New York. Johnson claims they were a part of an illegal racketeering scheme that aimed to inflate Doge's price. He said, quote, defendants falsely and deceptively claim that Dogecoin is a legitimate investment when it has no value at all. That is literally what this man is, the leg he's standing on.
Well, here in the United States, you can
sue for anything.
You can sue anything for anybody.
Robin looked at me with his left eye closed, and it hurt my feelings. Like, it caused me to not go to work for 3 days. I'm suing you for $333,000. Like, what? People, this is what is wrong with people. Is you fucked up, you lost money, but who do I put the finger
You
on?
see Jason
Who do I
Squires.
blame? You.
Jason Squires
No, you.
has made
No,
his profile picture our merchandise. You like that, right?
Where is he?
He's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Coinfather?
No,
I told you, bro.
Sin City Crypto.
Where?
It's profile picture. You zoom in them glasses of yours, bro.
Oh, I thought it said Coinfather. You know, he got the Coinfather shirt, and I said there can only be one coin. I was like, all right, fine, there can be two. All right, so this is obviously, this is not a serious article. Just, you know, we've been talking bad, just something to crack you up. I don't know what cracked me up when I read it. He wishes for Dogecoin trading to be declared gambling under New York law. New York is just a cesspool of crap, lawsuits, and this and that. And I'm sure Marky Mark, our fellow New Yorker, and I believe Tox is from New York too. I feel like they can.
Guys, we will be on Around the Blockchain in less than 2 hours on BitBoy's channel. If you don't know who that is, do some research. But he has a show. It's a competition-based show. A lot of y'all have come and support. So
He's been on fire on Twitter lately.
Yeah.
He's been running these long threads and some juicy stuff.
He's having a little Twitter battle with Celsius. So he had the cease and desist order from the
legal team.
The legal team at Celsius.
Like, bruh, why don't you worry about fucking getting people's money back versus a YouTuber tweeting, whether it's the biggest channel or the smallest channel. Like,
maybe we'll get a cease and desist order on that thumbnail we made today. What you doing?
Rob, do we have the NFT graphic available?
Sure.
Eddie? Roll the NFT graphic.
It's the one that says NFT intro.
It's not working.
I didn't save it last night.
Shucks, Robin.
Oh, well.
All right. Anyways, just real quick, and we'll finish up the show here. WWE enters the ring with this new NFT collection. Robin, are you a WWE fan? Ever since I found out it was fake, I stopped watching it. I thought it was real. But I was also 14.
He found out last week.
I was 13.
He came into the studio. He's like, Robin. And I'm like, what's up, man?
I was also 13,
he's like, guess
14
what,
years
man?
old.
He's like,
also 13,
he's like,
14 years.
It's
13, 14 years old. Really,
it's
Eddie?
not real. I'm like, what?
Put me on blast, bro?
Dogecoin? And he was like, no, the WWE.
Man, Marky Mark, thank you, bro. Got a super chat from our friend Marky Mark. Said, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day Sunday, Sin City dads. Sin City chat dads. Yeah. Mark, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got kids. Robin got kids.
Yeah,
Eddie's got kids. They're just not born yet.
Go have brunch with my dad on Sunday.
You are?
So, yeah.
I wish I could do that. Anyways, WWE enters a ring with its new NFT collection. They launched their own NFT marketplace. Like, I feel like everyone and their mom is launching an NFT marketplace. It's like, how many layer ones do we need? How many NFT marketplaces do we need? Can we just get one that like bridges them all together? Eventually, hopefully. In collaboration with BCL, which is Blockchain Creative Labs, each NFT flip is set to feature a WWE superstar tied to Sunday night's annual Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event, which was one of my favorites. After the event, each NFT flip will transform, revealing a 10 to 20 second video highlight of the featured superstar. And talks about this right here was when, I guess if you're a fan,
That's
you know
Cactus Jack and The Undertaker, bro. One of the
Cactus Jack?
Cactus Jack.
Mankind.
And he's also known as Mankind. He has 3 different personalities. Cactus Jack.
Okay, go ahead.
He's also Mankind. And Dude Love is his 3rd personality.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And and then that's The Undertaker. This is an epic one. This is like a 30-foot drop where he like body slams him all the way down.
Now I know
bro.
it's scripted, but this is still like,
dude, I'm telling you, bro, your boy guy.
You are a WWE fan. Okay.
I'm telling you, the highlight.
Who do you like, John Cena?
When The Rock,
John Cena,
I stopped watching that.
The Rock was
when
a shit,
The Rock, we would do this.
Can you smell?
Dude, that was, if you are a red-blooded American, you appreciated WWE
You're a blue-blooded
and the
American 'cause you're a
WWF
reptile.
at the time. Man, get out of here.
So you can possibly get this one right here, this video, which would obviously be the rarest. The first drop is slated to be the first of many, as they plan to continue to hold drops on Moonsault in a conjunction with their future pay-per-view events. And then last one, man, I love seeing, we saw Looney Tunes, Nickelodeon now. We grew up on this stuff, man. Robin not really because he's really old, and Eddie's too young. But
No, this is
me in the chat.
That's the Rugrats right there, bro. Yeah,
Rugrats, bro. Chucky, bro. Redheaded Chucky. That fool was crazy. Anyways, Nickelodeon has revealed the first details of its forthcoming NFT collection. Little is known of their NFT plans as of yet, other than that it will aim to play on the heartstrings of nostalgia. Yes, you will. for its first outing by drawing up its 90s spanning golden era for much of its inspiration. Fan favorites like the Rugrats and Hey Arnold will make an appearance. However, the undisputed god of the network, SpongeBob, has so far remained unmentioned. Would you consider SpongeBob the god of Nickelodeon? I want to say Rugrats, bro.
I'm telling you, know what I'm waiting for with Pokemon, man. When Pokemon gets into
We have Axie Infinity.
that's the ripoff.
I know,
When
I'm just kidding.
Pokemon gets into the game, bro, I think that's gonna be huge, bro.
And
It's already big collectible. It's already like digital with the Pokemon Go.
I was hoping this video would be something more, but it's not. It's pretty whack.
Okay.
Anyways, before we leave, let's just take a real quick look and see if there's anything happening in the markets. Under 900 billion, man. That's that's a big hefty decline there.
We are testing this 20K. And then
You know, CryptoFace is another
around the blockchain. The first article, just a sneak peek, will be Bitcoin whale support lines. Traders say 14K the most bearish. So they're basically talking about a 14K Bitcoin price target. So you'll get our thoughts on that, or at least mine.
CryptoFace, which is a pretty well-known TA analyst in the space, he went on and said there is not as many buyers at 20K than people think. Like people think there is. So I haven't done any research myself. I'm just telling what he said. And then again, Tether under 70 billion market cap. I mean, if you look at Tether's market cap really, really quick, I mean, just let me go to the 1 year, or sorry, year to date. I mean, you see, we're at over 83 billion, and we've just been cascading down. People are
It's a lot of people just simply taking profits. I mean that or exiting.
Right.
That's all it is. You know, if you have $1,000 in you got $1,000 in Tether and you sell it, they're supposed to take that off of the market cap.
Yeah.
You know, and tokens, but.
I am going to start
But there's
buying.
been a history of Tether just all of a sudden a million tokens just pop up. Like, where'd that come
Where the hell
from?
did that come from? I'm going to start buying some XRP here in the next couple of weeks. I know I've hated on XRP before, but I'm going to start buying some.
Their lawsuit's not going to settle till 2023.
Which is like at the earliest 7 months.
For me, there's going to be so much more because there's going to be another run up before next year.
I mean, how much lower can it go?
I mean, I get that, but I'm saying there's going to be another run up by next year.
All right.
And before next year. And if there's a run up before next year, you know, ETH related projects are probably going to pump with the merge and Polygon. If you want to go for more of a high risk, I mean, Loopring would be a good one. I mean, you got to think if the ETH merge goes off, ETH pumps, rallies. I mean, Loopring at right now, number 69.37 cents. I mean, this all-time high was $3.50. It's a 10x. I mean, I don't think it's going to get that high, but
Look at the graph, under 10 cents. There are so many projects, and like Forrest said, this is when fundamentals come in, right? If you just spend some time researching projects that are in the top 100, even top 200, look at fundamentals. Look at what's going on behind the scenes. Can they survive? Are their financials good enough? Their fundamentals good enough to survive a bear market? If the answer is yes, and you want to invest some money into it and understand the risk, I mean, literally, the bear market is where millionaires and wealth is created. And we're in it right now. If you're watching, you're with us. We're in it right now. And I feel like collectively as a community, we come together, me, Robin, Eddie, Rocco, our community, we come together, man. We can all, you know, it doesn't have to be one or two people that become wealthy. It could be us as a collective group. So that's my feeling on that. All right, we are done. Rob, you got anything to add before we go prep for the show or what?
No, that's it, baby.
All right. Friends, family, uncles, cousins, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers. By the way, happy early Father's Day to all you dads out there. Enjoy time with your kids. I know I will try my best. On behalf of myself, Robin, and Eddie, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. To all the new members, make sure you subscribe. Come back. BitBoy Crypto, under 2 hours, Monday, 10:30 a.m. Vegas time. We'll see you then. Peace.
I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up, drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas I goof off. I got 16 missed calls on my phone. Times change, Mickey D's turn into Rabuchon. Kick my feet up. of drink leader, smoke on a new strong. Couple margaritas, senoritas, I goof off. Smoking on an island, say she wanna ride with me. Took her on a flight, said all her bags from Italy. I sent her with a friend, they shopping there religiously. Whoa, whoa, yeah. You say she love me, but that's when she rockin' Prada bag. Said she ready for the next, I won't, not so fast. Slow down, slow down, slow down, girl, don't you crash. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Cause we can mess up that pretty face, but we can fuck up that pretty lace. Tryna kiss up, I'm in your place. Man, this shit so crazy. Never thought I'd be doing shit like this again. Put that effort in, girl, then I repay you. Crash that thing out of park.